covered the deployment.
Yes, we did.
What was pre-separation and the separation like in the Marine Corps, getting ready to get out?
When I got back from deployment, we started going back into our normal routines of what we would do, basically. And I just want to, I'm saying this because something I'm struggling with is trying to obtain some sort of, or at least have the VA look at my back as a possible disability claim from back then, because I did get injured.
Okay, we didn't cover this.
Okay.
Let's cover your back. Because you mentioned a little bit of it. I think it was the move of the barracks and you're moving mattresses in and out. And you said something that was the start of your back injuries. Let's go ahead and talk about that, because that's very important.
Okay. The back injury started, first time I ever felt back pain was the whole barracks, moving the mattresses around and putting the old ones and taking the old ones out, putting the new ones in. And then, of course, basic things here and there. All the hikes we would do, I would have soreness, stiffness, the basic stuff. Go to the regimental aid station. Oh, here's some Motrin. Have some water, and you'll be fine. And sure enough, I would get better with the Motrin and the water, and feel a little bit better. Actually, a few months later, we were doing an exercise down in the football area where they started doing this martial arts hand-to-hand combat training thing around the time frame when we were in. It was a new thing. I don't know if you got to experience that before you got out.
I think that was probably after I got out.
Okay, so basically, we all had our tan belts when we got in. They showed us how to use them with our camis, all that good stuff. And what ended up happening was they started saying, well, we're going to train Marines hand-to-hand combat, but they would give you a different color belt if you qualified. So you would start off, I think, with brown, eventually make it to green, and then work your way up to different colors, eventually leading to black belt, which was pretty cool. I think I knew 2 people at the time that only made it to black belt, including the instructors.
Wow.
We were doing something with that exercise, and basically part of it was you practice all the stuff that you do, and you know how they go all out sometimes, pugil stick status, sometimes it's last man standing. We were doing that activity, and I just remember getting pulled back and feeling this ugly tweak on my left-hand side, my lumbar region, and I couldn't even stand up straight. I couldn't get up off the floor. I couldn't even walk. And everyone said I looked like a ghost, that I just turned pale. To this day, people still tell me, I still remember how you look like a ghost, something was not right. They rushed me over to the regimental aid station in a Hummer, in the Humvee. And basically, they were like, we got to send you to the main side. They sent me to the main side hospital that they had. They had me do an x-ray, then a CAT scan. And that's as much as I remember doing. And they said, oh, well, you just have a strain. We're going to, and some herniated discs. You're going to see a chiropractor and go to physical therapy, and you'll feel better. So for months, I went on twice a week. I would go to where the School of Infantry was. They would have a little office there, and the guy would come in and have me do some exercises, crack my back, put me on a little TENS unit machine, and say, there's your therapy. We'll see you, the next day or the day after.
Wow. And
I did that all the way up until I pretty much got out. And when I got out, everyone says, oh, you got a claim. Basically, I'm still fighting it. Fast forward years later, I got out of the military. I was working for Union Bank of California at the time as a cash vault teller. A very laboristic job, moving money around, twisting, bending, all that stuff. And eventually, I ended up tweaking my back again, and it just kept on getting worse and worse and worse. I get better. 2011, working for, which is my current job with LA County, I'm working for the human resources. I was working for human resources at the time, and I was doing something as simple as filing, leaning over to pull out a file. And when I did, I just felt this ugly pinch and burning sensation in my back, which eventually led me to needing surgery. I got diagnosed with something called Cauda equina syndrome. That is something that I'm still learning, and this was back in 2011. You could know about it, but you gotta, I guess, experience it to really understand it, because it's different. It's weird. I'm partially paralyzed in certain parts of my body. I have a lot of nerve issues, and I have a lot of other issues that are along with that. Even till this day, as I try to do this process of when I got hurt with LA County, even when I got sent to their doctors, they were like, oh, you go back this is from the military. They're trying, they're trying to say like, but
It's not our fault.
Yeah, that's not our fault. This was the military's fault. So basically, they would go back, or this is Union Bank's fault, or this is what. So finally, I'm still trying to figure it out. So my back still hurts. I still have a lot of pain. I live in pain every single day. I try to find alternative ways to help alleviate a lot of that pain or the anxiety that comes with it, or even from being on a lot of medications to being on none. Now I feel like I've come a long way because I was highly addicted to the pain pills that were given to me.
Yeah, if we can talk about that really quick. I remember you had showed me your medicine bag,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a fucking lot of medications you were supposed to be taking.
Yeah, at some given points of days, I was taking up to 28 to 32 pills a day because I would call the doctor and they would say, "Oh, well, take it as needed." Because even on the bottle, it would say, "Take it as needed."
Right.
After a spinal cord surgery, because this surgery was, they performed the surgery in hopes that I would be able to walk again. Because they actually told me based off with the syndrome that I was going to have a lot of trouble with the rest of my life. I would have to wear, like, if I was walking, I would most likely have to like have braces around my legs.
Yeah, like Forrest Gump when he was little. Yeah.
Or have like a walker with me at all given times or a cane. But I luckily don't have those things. I've learned to deal with a lot of the pain and just sort of understand and reflect on the day, sort of to help me understand what I did to help me feel what I do. And I know every day could just mean something different, but pain is a whole other story,
Yeah.
But
so what year did that injury first take place?
So as far as first time I could probably say that I got my back hurt was in 2001, leading into 2002, and then had this nice little break where I didn't really have much pain until around 2003, 2004, and then it got worse around 2005, where I was having a lot of episodes back to back, where I would have spasms and I was just tweaked over and I couldn't even stand up straight. I couldn't even walk from here to the end of this table, from this point of the table to the other end of the table without feeling like I wanted to collapse forward. So something was definitely wrong, but doctors like, well, you just have some herniated discs and you have sciatica. But it was very painful, and I thought this was going to be it, and it was bad then. In all honesty, I think I'm a little bit better with that pain now after the surgery, because it did help to some extent, but it did leave me with a lot of other questionable ailments, whether it be that it was caused before the surgery or caused after the surgery type of thing. But for sure, I've been diagnosed with something called Cauda-equina syndrome. I have like neurogenic bladder and bowel for the most part, where it's basically numb. Yeah, it's weird. It's just a weird condition. Like, again, I'm still learning it. And then over the years, you just develop other ailments as you age. And, a lot of doctors specifically say, oh, it's a lot of your pain is just because of your aging. And I'm like, I'm only 40, 42. But when I was younger, there was really no excuse. I was active. Like, I would play basketball like 3 times a week. I would go for runs, go to the gym, lift weights. Mm-hmm. I was very active, and now I'm not. I just sort of slow down and sort of take it easy when I need to. And I will give it my all when I really need to, because every day I feel like I'm giving it my 110, but sometimes I want to give 120% of myself, or 130, and when I do, I feel it 2 or 3 days later, type of thing.
And all this is documented, right?
It is. It's documented. It's just getting it all together, and it's a process. I just recently requested for some of my military documents again, and that process took a very long time, which was very sad, because I would do everything that they would ask me to do, and then they would send me a letter saying it wasn't, this was a copy. It wasn't official. It wasn't an actual signature from you. So I was like, what? Like, it looked like it.
It's just them trying not to freaking own up to, whatever happened.
Yeah. So, and then I would
under their watch.
Right.
Technically.
I feel like they're delaying a lot of things, because I did switch over VAs, like from the West LA VA to Long Beach, because I work closer to Long Beach now. Mm-hmm. It was still just a process just to do all that. I was very discouraged, just going through or been discouraged to even go to the VA for anything, especially when I didn't have health insurance.
Yeah, the system
Yeah.
pretty much failed you, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I see, and you hear people that get stuff for unfortunate things that happen to them in the military. They get small amount of something that could be
It's
beneficial.
fucking ridiculous that what happened to me, I got my fucking disability, 10%,
Yeah,
and you're not getting shit.
nothing at this given point.
That's bullshit, dude. That's wrong on the VA, and they need to fucking fix the system because it's broken.
Yeah, because I've pulled out every legal document that I've had over the years or medical documentation that I've had and try to organize it accordingly so I could highlight certain things and pull out certain, I even pull out certain like information so I can make sure that it's listed, and they've just neglected, to even, oh, we don't need this, or, well, this is, you have to submit something else, or something. And I'm like, what? But luckily, I've been starting this process since around like I think 2002 or 2003. No, around 2003 I started the process, because 2002 I was like, no, I'm not going to need this. But then a year later I started feeling a little funny. I was like, well, I was told that I still need to submit all these things to cover my end type of thing,
Right.
to submit your DD 214 to the West LA VA and to register, and I did do all that. It was still the process.
Wow.
But
I hope that it gets squared away, and I hope they back pay you from 2002,
well,
at least.
yeah, even if they didn't, I would still be happy that they at least took the time to acknowledge, hey. But I was reading an article recently that they're going to reevaluate a lot of the VA claims. I guess there's, like, for example, pilots who have claimed a disability claim and they're 100% disabled, right? But then there's still pilots working outside, being pilots.
Yeah.
So I know that's going to be an interesting little thing that's going to be coming up for some veterans and some conversations. And it's important to be informed and to make sure that when you need to write your congressman, you write your congressman, be involved. Of course, get out and vote. It's not a plug for voting, but our voice does matter still.
It does. Have you thought about talking to a lawyer?
I have, and the ones that I've talked to, because there was that whole being in HR at the time in 2011 and reaching over and grabbing that file that was pretty hefty. The way they had it was just it sounds like it's simple, but if I could just the explanation behind it, it was like file cabinets, like closets within closets. So it was almost like you would go into a room and there would be a bunch of file cabinets. Go into another room, there'll be more file cabinets with boxes on top. And then you go into another little room they're all attached, and there'll be like a bigger file cabinet with boxes and boxes and boxes on top of that. And when you open up the drawer, you couldn't actually be in front of it. You would just have to reach over and try to reach for one. And I barely could fit in there at the time because I was a lot heavier than what I am now. When I actually came back up, that feeling was the nastiest feeling. I couldn't even lift up my legs to walk upstairs.
Oh my God.
And the fact that I was in a basement at our headquarters, at the time, it was very scary because I couldn't even walk out of there fast enough before the lights shut off down in the basement.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was just like, luckily there was somebody there that I was able to scream at, and he came to my aid, and he was able to go upstairs and get other people to come and help me to release the elevator to come all the way down, and finally was able to go back up. And even that was a nasty process. LA County, being that I worked for HR, I thought I would be taken care of a lot differently, and they treated me like I was just everyone else, which is fair, but at the same time too, they try to throw it back. This was the military's fault. You already had back issues. It was a hard thing to really understand what was going on, especially when I was in the hospital and I couldn't really do much until I was out. And after my surgery, I was in the hospital for a little over a month, just basically relearning how to walk and use new devices to help aid me in life. Luckily now I don't use a lot of them, but I still have them, just in case, because I do have moments where I feel like I need them, like when I have nerve pain or like my legs feel really weak. It's just weird. It's a weird condition, Cauda equina syndrome. Yeah.
Well, hopefully this portion of the podcast brings it to the forefront, and there's more spotlight on it.
I think we need more advocacy, more people speaking up and advocating, and I think part of my process was they mentioned that I need to get letters like from people who could remember when I got hurt. I was like, to help me with my case, and I was like, what do you know how hard that's going to be? So luckily, the good thing is, and it's not even luckily, the good thing is that we still communicate with a lot of people that were there. They remember. They're like, I remember when you got hurt. I'm like, can you put that down on a letter for me, please?
It's almost like a character statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and then it's gonna align. Everything aligns, and I'm not trying to do this for like any kind of compensation. I just want to make sure that I'm taken care of, health wise, when the time comes. Because according to what people say, I could get a little bit better, but as I age, you get
It's gonna
you
catch
get different
up.
ailments.
Yeah.
They fuse my lump. They fuse my L4, L5. I have 2 inserts in my L2, L3, and then like my L3, L4 region. Of course, the rods and everything else that comes with all that, and you feel it. Like, yeah, sometimes you lean a little too much, and you feel like you're gonna break.
Yeah, I see when you have to walk, we have to take a break from this, and you need to walk around and stretch.
Oh yeah, because I'll get numb. Like my
Yeah.
legs will just go numb on me, and I'll be standing, they'll go numb. I'll sit down, they'll go numb. So I always have to find ways to keep myself active, or make sure that there's circulation going through my body at all times, in the sense of like by providing movement. There's always circulation, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Well, I hope this brings the issues like this with the VA. I hope it comes to light, and I hope that it puts more spotlight on them, and I hope they're able to start fucking themselves.
Right.
Pretty much. I can't think of any other kind of words to use.
That's true.
All right, dude.
Well, and there's so much more with the VA too, like just wait times and everything else, and
I feel bad because the VA's been good to me, and I've only been using the VA really for the past 6 to 8 months. I feel horrible that they're fucking doing this to you, man. It's really fucked up.
And then the fact that when I did use them one time, when I just wanted a second opinion on something, because I was told, on top of everything else, I developed this weird tumor on my foot called a desmoid tumor, I guess that's what it's called. So that's something that I'm still learning about too. But even going through that process, it has showed me that there's a lot of breaks within the health system, any healthcare system. I feel that the more we try to, we'll never understand it, because it's always constantly changing. But if we constantly keep our doctors informed, it could possibly help a little bit, what's going on and everything. And I think it would. I'll stop there. I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest with you.
All right, man.
I think I sort of lost my train of thought, just sort of getting
Yeah, I mean,
the idea of like how
it can make it better.
how we can make it better, because there's so
Yeah.
many things that we could do to try to make it better. But
All these wishful scenarios that we play over in our head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
We do that a lot with everything in life.
I know.
All right, bro. Let's go ahead and let's move forward. Could you share a memorable time in service that had a significant impact on you?
Oh,
And then we'll move forward to the after the
yeah.
Marine Corps.
Wow. That's a loaded question. I think the overall, for me, would be the experience. Everything was memorable. There were things I would want to forget, but there's certain things that I also know that it helped me grow. It helped me develop more of a character, and develop the character of who I am today, and the personality of who I am today, I guess, and the me of who I am, because without that, it's a memorable moment. There's too many.
I'm going to give you only one.
I know.
One moment.
Let me think. I want to, one thing that, okay, it's a little cheesy, but it's not at the same time. You'll understand why. There's just too many memorable moments. I'm sure I'm going to have many more opportunities to share other memories that I've had, or moments that left an impactful life or imprint in my life. I'm going to use the one right now for this specific moment of when I was overseas and you were getting ready to be discharged. I just had a phone conversation with you, and how I was just sad that I couldn't even give you a hug goodbye. That was really something, because I was like, oh, I know we're going to see each other. Oh, we're going to hang out. Or, no, you're close. You're in Almani. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be cool. And then I come back to, coming back from overseas with 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, and being able to, come back to the pack, and you're not there. And then seeing a lot of new faces, and then how, where your role, was now someone else's role.
Was that did Gallegos take over at that point?
I think he did. Yeah, it was him. So of course he had his, I guess that he had his time to shine. But I know he was doing other leadership things at the pack as well too. I think that right there was one of the first times that it was like, you say goodbyes. Usually, I was always taught you say goodbyes in face to face, right? Every now and then you might have to say goodbye over the phone, but you never really say goodbye.
Right.
But it took how long before we finally started actually seeing each other, right? Before we would see each other in the community. Oh, we'll hang out. Oh, it's great to see you. But then life got involved. You know, our kids got involved. Our time was occupied with other things, and we're here. But we never said. I mean, in essence, we said laters, but we never really said goodbye.
And here we are.
And I want to use that one because it was tough. It was always hard. I guess the phone calls would be a memory, that would last long, because we use phones now, but we use them differently. A lot of it is through social media, writing, text messages. I try to, when we do talk to people, but we're doing it differently now. Half the time we're on a hands-free device while we're driving.
Right.
Before, it's like, no, you sit down and you actually have to talk because the wire was there, or you have to go to one of those little huts, or those little bungalows,
or the phone booths,
yeah. And you would have just to be quiet, to be personal, and whatever. But now it's like, you have earphones on and you forget where you're at,
and every fucking buddy's hearing your conversation.
Exactly. And I just, that was very. I'm just seeing where we were and where we've been and where we're at now in life, and what led us to be here. And through that process, we've rekindled and connected with a lot of other people, that we've served with. And the whole point of this was basically to capture our stories during our times that we have served during, during our time at the pack, and I'm just thankful, because every moment was impactful. There was something every day. And again, I know we're going to share these when we start having these conversations with other people. Yeah. And they start sharing, remember this? I'm like, I do remember.
Yeah, you're going to piece different parts of different stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about that. And it's going to be that, I don't know, I'm just really, it's huge. This is huge for me. And I know it's huge for you because
I'm having a fucking blast. I love the technical side of it. If I could find another host to replace me, I probably would. And I think I have somebody in mind that I haven't talked to you about, or I haven't even talked to them about. But I would be more happy being in the background. I'm not much of a talker.
Wow.
Not much of a talker. But I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get better at this. I don't know.
You're doing great.
Thank you, sir. So what was the initial 12 months like after getting out of the Corps?
That was a transition in itself because I knew I wanted to go to school. So I think part of getting out was because I knew I wanted to go back to school. So I registered right away for summer classes at East Los Angeles College as I returned back to Los Angeles from Camp Pendleton, Camp San Mateo. So also had my fiance at the time and my daughter. I was trying to be, trying to be a dad, trying to develop a relationship into something greater, and also going to school and trying to find work. Luckily, my brother was resigning from a job with Union Bank of California as a cash vault teller, a part-time position. He made comment to a supervisor that I have my brother who's getting out of the military, that is going to need some work. Do you think you could, hire him or let him go through the interview process so we could see if he qualifies? And I would qualify. It was just, I qualified for the interview. I went to the interview. Not even 10 minutes in, they were like, "You got the job." I was like,
shit. Nice.
I felt good. Like this is gonna be good. They were like, "Oh, and your pay's gonna be," and they started discussing all that. So I was like, "Oh, wow, this is gonna be great." And at the time, it was only $11 an hour, and I was like, "This is gonna be great. It's more than what the Marine Corps was giving us." Not realizing that we were actually getting more, a little bit more. It seemed like in the military, granted with the things that we we had.
Meal carts.
Meal cards.
Hey, Lopez.
Barracks. Yeah, that's right. Barracks, that we lived in, that we didn't have to really pay a constant rent on, out of our own money that we were earning. But it was just very tough because now I'm having to do this on the outside. Where am I staying? I was staying with my parents or my mom and my stepdad. I returned back home there, and I was basically going to visit my fiance and my daughter because my mother-in-law was strict, and later on we got married. My daughter's older now; she's 22, and she graduated college. I'm a proud dad, of course. And
Congratulations.
yeah, and years later, but it was all part of the struggle. I want to say the first 12 months, I got out. I went back to school. I went full time, worked part time for Union Bank, and was trying to be a full time dad now. And trying again to develop something greater with my wife, and planning that out to see what that looked like. Which we ended up getting married in 2003. So
you guys are closing in on 20 years.
On 20 years, September 27th.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thank you.
So let's fast forward. You were out for 4 years, basically the length of your enlistment. How were those years like?
It was tough. I realized that a lot had happened when I was in that sort of changed a lot of the dynamic of my basic home life. For example, I got out. When I left, my brother was still living at home, still in high school. There was a lot of just good things happening that were just seemed nice. Family life, like overall, the greater family, my uncles, aunts, grandma, mom, everyone else seemed to be thriving, being successful, and it was a nice time. I want to say, aside from my health issues, like the back little spasms that I would have, I would say part-time, I would have the spasms in my back. I would find ways to get better. I would go through physical therapy, take some medication, do what I needed to do type of thing, and get better. I was also going to school still full-time. I was working for the bank now full-time. That was mainly about it. That's what my life consisted of, just trying to restore some, reconnect with some people that when you leave to boot camp from high school, and then when you get out, you're like, oh, when I get out, we'll hang out, and we did. And I still hang out and talk to those guys today, and it's great, that we've been able to be friends and for so long,
That's cool. You guys get to keep in contact like that. That's great.
But that was mainly about it. That's what my life consisted of, including going to church and trying to find some volunteer opportunities within the community, because I just wanted to still find ways to serve people in general. I had no idea that I would eventually in the future be working for like the county as a civil servant, psychiatric case manager for Department of Mental Health of Los Angeles County. I enjoy it. I never thought I would be here for so long. I now have been with the county for 15 years. Going back really quick to those 4 years, it was just difficult because I still had that sort of military, that little vibe. People would still see it in you, and they would be like, you look like you're in the military. I was like, I was in the military, and, what branch were you in? Like, oh, you were a Marine. No, I am a Marine. It sort of changed.
There's no was.
Yeah. And then you start meeting other veterans at like community college, and then you realize, hey, weren't you in this unit? And they were like, yeah. Weren't you in this? I'm like, yeah. And then it was cool because like we would start joining like other little groups with each other, and sort of like finding ourselves sort of just being around the brotherhood of the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
it was cool. I don't know. Life seemed tough then. It just seems tough it just seems tougher now for whatever reason. But yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking back, it just seemed like it was so much simpler.
I was about to say the same thing. I'm like, you can look back to whatever year, and like, wow, man, it was a whole lot simpler. But when you firmly think about it and put yourself in that spot, it's like, fuck, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't. So what are you up to now? You did touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So now I serve as a psychiatric case manager for Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health. I work for a full service partnership program where we basically help those that are severely emotionally and mentally ill. We have a lot of people that are chronically homeless. We serve a lot of people that have been institutionalized for quite a while or have been in and out of institutions. And we're just trying to show basically the community and everyone else that with a little bit of support, everybody could thrive. And it's an interesting program. I've been there since 2017, February 6th of 2017. Before that, I was a psychiatric case manager for a child and adolescent program. That one was a little different and intense.
What was that like? What was that like?
Very disturbing sometimes, but also rewarding. A lot of abuse cases or a lot of people needing support with some medications, and it was just nice to connect with families and be able to serve the families, to be able to like go to the schools and help them advocate for their child to get the support that they might need, or like even some families were homeless and we would find housing for them, and it was just nice. And then for them to come back and see some of them now like thriving, and during that time of their distress, like I need help, I have no other choice but to come here type of thing, and they get it. A lot of the cases that we get are court cases where it's mandated. Even through that process, people still learn things, including me. So,
hey man, you're doing the Lord's work.
Oh,
because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't. I give you full props. I mean, what the for everything that you just described, it's like I couldn't. So major props to you, man.
It's nothing. It's nothing. But thank you. No, I don't even look at it as like work. It's just a service for fellow man. Like we're called to be there for each other. I know. There's a lot of good things that we could use in the Bible, but there's a lot of other good things that we could use to help each other. One simple thing in life is just be nice to each other. Be good to one another, support one another. Reach out to someone if they need that if they're on your heart, they're on your heart for a reason. Reach out to them.
No matter where you come from,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the main thing. No matter where you come from, you should help them.
And what I like too is like I think like with us, right? Sometimes when I give you a call, like even though like let's just say 62 as a component of like we could easily get through 62 minutes like there's no tomorrow.
Oh, I know.
Like we'll continue on, and then we'll start talking to some of the other guys sometimes or through a text, and it's like next thing you know, it's like the whole day. As we still got our stuff done, but we're still keeping in touch, and that's I think that's what's important, because sometimes we could feel alone, and I think some of the times you just get what's that say in the military? You adapt and you overcome. And adapting and overcoming could be tough sometimes. It could be, especially doing it by yourself. I remember in the military, we did everything together. We moved as one. There could be a group of men that could lead. In boot camp, we saw 80 plus people to move together in less than 5 seconds. And and things don't happen like that, especially out here.
It's different. It's a dog-eat-dog world.
Especially when it comes to systems, because they have their protocols and you have to abide by them, and you have to use, applications that are like books, just so they could hopefully get some sort of temporary housing. It's sad. It's just a sad system that we have here, and it's a broken system. But at the same time, too, there's a lot of programs out there that could help. The help's not being taken, and if it is being taken, they're just left there and they don't know how to navigate through that system. And then they fail. But that's another topic for as we talk about the changes in Los Angeles in the future, I guess. No. From Camp Pendleton to LA. No.
So how did your military service shape your values and perspective on life?
Everything we learned, I think, like when it came to the three core values of honor, courage, and commitment, I think those are something that always have stood deeply in my heart, to have some sort of honor in everything that you do, because it shows it shows who you are, your character, which came from your upbringing and everything else that you've done before that, your morals and your values and your honor, courage, was another one. This world is very scary sometimes, especially when you're going through something and you don't know if you're going to be able to get out of it, but to be courageous. And the Marine Corps would show you it helped to just face your fear. It started with that commercial that gave you the jitters, and then the guy climbing up and defeating that big old rock monster or whatever.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's funny because, and then it just gave you that extra, like, oh, that might be me. I think I could do this. And even doing that was one of the first scariest things that I ever did, on my own, saying like, all right, I want to join, let's join. And now I'm leaving and I'm going to go meet a bunch of new people that I've never met before and meet different backgrounds and cultures. And this is going to be interesting. And
Yep.
I'm very, very scared about, like, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But
afraid of the unknown.
The unknown.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I remember my recruiter saying like, well, if you don't go or if you don't join, you don't want to have that what if in the back of your mind, and I always kept that in my mind as well, like what if. So there was courage, and then the commitment. It's funny because like the commitment part is so much. It's loaded. It's a commitment to each other. It's a commitment to our community. It's a commitment to our government. It's a commitment to
family.
It's a commitment to all this stuff. But I just being committed. It sometimes could be hard. Because sometimes it's easy just to be like, what, everyone else could take care of it, or I don't feel the same.
It's not my problem.
It's not my problem type of thing. But being committed and being locked in and being sure, that's important. I think part of a lot of this too, this of us getting together, being able to share and have this, this platform, it's an opportunity for us to even grow through this. And have a commitment towards something to see where it leads to, and I'm nervous about it, a little. I see all these technical things that you have going on here, and I'm like, what is this? And you're like, oh, this is.
I look at it and I'm like, how the fuck did I do this?
Yeah, well,
I'm still looking at it in awe because I'm not a very technical person, but thank God for YouTube. Thank God for YouTube. Can you describe a moment that made you feel proud to serve your country? Did we touch that one already? I don't think we did.
No, I don't think we have.
Oh,
but
right.
I think when I see other veterans, older veterans, and like some on wheelchairs sometimes, and the national anthem comes on, and they stand up and they're standing at attention, and they're seeing. It makes me feel proud to know that I was a part of that too. Nothing compared to what, like, say World War II went through, or even Vietnam, or
Desert Storm,
like
Afghanistan.
all them, all them. It's just, but just to know that, at some given point, we all passed some sort of we had some sort of rite of passage.
Yep.
To become part of this thing that we call a brotherhood, or the Marine Corps, and even the title veteran,
Yeah.
When I go to parades and I see the Marine Corps, band, like the Rose Parade, and I see the Marine Corps band marching on through, and I hear them, playing some John Philip Sousa, and I'm like, this is great because it reminds me of marching on the parade deck. And you see all the other guys, standing up to clapping along, or it's just exciting. It's just it's camaraderie.
How has military experience influenced your life, and what lessons have you carried with you?
The military lessons of just adapting and overcoming, that you just don't give up.
Yeah.
You had support when you were in. You had your brothers that were around you that would encourage you and give you that extra boost.
They would lift you up when you were down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Many moments like that through our times, through boot camp, even through after that in the fleet, in the barracks. We would work all day with each other and then go to the barracks and still want to be with each other. Like in the sense of hanging out. Nothing like that. No. Edit that out. Edit that out. No.
I was thinking back to field days, and that's when we would really. I think that was our more social. Our more social time. I wasn't really there on the weekend since I was only an hour away.
Yeah.
I think on a field day Thursdays, I think that's when everybody would just come out, and it was really
Yeah, everybody would be out playing all types of music,
Yeah.
full blast. Everybody saying, I'm going to go get tacos, just clean this up, or working
Yeah.
with each other
Yeah.
to help achieve something so nobody would have to stay back over the weekend to clean again or whatever
Right.
they made us do, right?
yeah.
Yeah, field day was a good one. I used to love how we used to get off of work, go to eat something, and then go back and be like, all right, 20, 30 minutes, basketball courts. All right, cool. And we'll go play basketball from 6 to sometimes past midnight,
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it was great. And then sometimes we would go back to bed. We would go to bed and then wake up super early just so we could go to the gym. And they'd be like, come on, let's go. I'm like, I don't want to. No, come on, we got to go. All right, let's go. And it would give me that extra push, that
Yeah.
extra boost. Even now, again, social media helps out. And, we connected through social media, or we have been connected through social media. And I see when you wake up early morning, like at 4 a.m. to go to the gym. And I'm like, oh, dude, that's super early. But I'm up, and I could be up too. But I'm going to the gym. But
I got that free pass. Just saying.
Well, there we go. I know. I got to push myself. But it also gives me motivation to want to be out more when you go on your hikes, and see some of these beautiful things that you've seen, and been able to capture and be a part of, or even just stand there and look and embrace. It's hard to get out here in LA sometimes if you don't make the time for it.
Seriously, you can't go to the beach unless you leave at 6 a.m. because if you want to leave at 10, 11, 12, you have to plan another additional two and a half, 3 hours. And we're only 30 miles from the beach.
Yeah.
At least from Santa Monica.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I usually do now. I drive so much for my job. I time everything out based off traffic. So I'm like, around this time, okay. Let me add another 45 minutes. Okay. All right. I'll be here at this time. On average, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Or I get there a little earlier, except for tonight. I got caught up with my brother a little
all right.
bit.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
I was minutes late. No.
It's okay.
Nonetheless, what was the question?
How has military experience influenced your life, and what lessons have you carried with you?
I think seeing every Marine that I still communicate with becoming successful in their own way, and how they thrive, but yet you still see them in their youth.
I still see you the way when I right before I left. I still Sam fucking hasn't changed.
Yeah.
But Zepeda, it's weird seeing him with hair.
Right.
'Cause he was bald for all 4 fucking years, or for the time that I knew him. So we don't see how much we've changed. I don't think.
I don't.
I don't either.
Yeah. We have beards now. I think back then we didn't, but
Nope.
even through that, I still see, clean shaven, youthful Eric. And
I see Almanza with short hair.
yeah,
It's fucking crazy.
I know, but I don't have short hair.
Exactly.
So I think that seeing how everyone in their own way has been successful, at least my perspective of what I think success would be, the fact that they're alive, the fact that they're thriving, that they still have family, that they're still connected even through some sort of network or a platform like social media, like Facebook or Instagram. I'm also thankful and I'm grateful to see how how one little thing could sort of spark a conversation through those platforms.
If we could only have recorded what we were talking about earlier, but it's it starts off with one thing and we can go on and on.
Yeah, and we could always talk about those things and record the things that we talked about earlier, but which might be interesting because it could be a helpful component in life as we verbalize things and say things, and we could also reflect. Because sometimes in our own mind, I feel that we get lost in our thoughts, and our thoughts could take us to other darker places. Where if we just say it out loud and verbalize it, you might say, "Oh, it wasn't that bad."
If we get it out there, it'll let others know that they're not the only ones experiencing that.
Right.
That they're not alone.
And they're not. And that's the beautiful thing, like things like this, where we could get together and be this support, and there's so many other supports that are out there that we should take advantage of and not be ashamed to use them. It's okay to talk to somebody. It's okay to be there or even offer your time to be there for somebody else. I remember a few years back there was like a push-up challenge. I don't know if you remember that, where to support a vet, and then you know do, I think it was 20 push-ups or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hoffa, God bless him.
Yeah.
Hoffa sent me the push-up challenge when Rachel was in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
And I saw when he challenged him, like, I'm not in the right headspace, so
Yeah.
I gotta pass.
Okay. Yeah. See, and I got challenged, but I was like, I can't do a push-up anymore because my back's hurting. So I couldn't even hold
Yeah.
my legs up to even try to,
Yeah.
do one, what I thought a push-up would be. But of course, I leave my knees now on the floor, and I
Yeah,
try my best to,
Yeah.
just to build the strength that I can build.
yeah,
Other than that, I'm just thankful for the fact that we still have our brothers that we could call on. And I think we remind ourselves that every single time when someone posts something, or shares something, even or even call someone, and then they call someone else and say, oh, I talked to such and such, because it's still like, oh, wow, this is nice. This is nice. They're still okay. That we have had brothers pass away that we have served with. Eugene Jones was one of them.
David Bracho.
David Bracho.
You got 3 questions. All right, your first one. What would you have done differently in the Marine Corps?
Wow.
That's a loaded question, I know.
It is. Well, first of all, because being that I was a terminal lance, I think I would have, I guess, tried a little bit differently to promote, to become a corporal. I think I would want to, I wish I would have had more funds to purchase more of those disposable, or get a better camera to capture more images and memories. And back then the cell phones were not like our cell phones of today, right? They were there. We could use them, past a certain time, so you won't get charged a certain rate. There were certain rules.
7 p.m.
Right? Some of them were 10 or after 9.
Shit.
But I think that was funny because now it seems like you see so much more online.
Sometimes too much.
Yeah, exactly. Than what we just have in our memory. Hopefully it lasts. So I think I would have probably wanted to buy more cameras to capture more moments. I guess really not neglect what we had then. Like really really embrace it more than what I possibly could have imagined then. But I mean, we did what we did. We did what we knew then. So
Yeah.
it's like to change it. I don't know. It's who we are. It's who we are today. But I think I would have wanted to get promoted. I think I deserved a promotion. I got put on weight control. I got bad pros and cons just because of the weight control, and it lowered everything else that sort of followed that little chain and then the cutting score became
Got really high, didn't it?
Really, really, like 1700s. If not, I think I remember at one point 1800s just for promotion to corporal. And I was like, you know what? I'll never see this. After my back got hurt, it became very difficult for me to really stay on top of things the way I needed to, especially because it would hurt so much. It would get really tight. I would stretch. I would feel funny. Yeah, I just felt that really impacted me to get promoted. So therefore, I think I would wanted to have done something different to have gotten promoted.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have any words of encouragement, advice, motivation for future Marines or Marines currently enlisted?
It gets better. Things get better. They might not feel like it. You just got to surround yourself with the right people. Let your brothers encourage you. Receive the encouragement, or just anybody that wants to give the encouragement, and then decipher what's going to work for you. I would say reach out to somebody if you need help and you're struggling. There's always somebody there that's available to talk to you, to be there for you and support you, in the sense of giving you, that time where they could, be that open ear, and you could get the things that you need off your chest. I also want to say, just embrace the moment, because it's going to go by so fast. It's been well over 20 years since I've gotten out.
well over 20 years since I went in. Those 4 years were an amazing ride. Looking back at it now, it seemed like it was tough then, which it was because we were young and we were trying to figure it out. And now that we're older, we're still trying to figure it out. But we at least figured the things that we need to figure out to get us to where we are now. It gets better, and just day by day.
Sally forth.
There we go.
Or Sully forth. Sally forth. Do you have any words for Marine Corps veterans in the civilian field? Any words of advice for them?
Pretty much the same thing. I know things get tough, or things might not be tough, but there's always things to do. Stay active in the community that you live in. Serve the community that you live in. Be present in those that you surround in their lives, and including the communities that you serve, and don't stop serving. There's always ways. And of course, if you need help, there's always that help, and there's hopefully this platform here in itself helps. So
if you need to reach out to us, well, you can find us on Instagram at Chat62Podcast. Chat62Podcast.
And there's also other things that are out there that if you did reach out, we could forward and send you and be able to give you that encouragement of hope for whatever it is that you're looking for. Just enjoy the ride. Life is great. There's a lot more good than there is bad. We just gotta really dig deep down sometimes to find that good, even though it's right in front of our faces sometimes.
Very true. Thank you, Almanza, for sharing your story with us. I appreciate it, and these will be coming out soon on your whatever platforms you listen to.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me, of course, and you will all hear more of me here, and I know my brother Eric and I will be pushing through. I know we're going to capture a few more stories.
Yes.
We already started another one, so we're sort of excited about that. We're really excited about that one.
That one is going to have to, I was already thinking about it, and I think the episode that we recorded last week after my birthday barbecue is going to be a bonus episode.
Okay.
Because it's, stupid batteries died. But on top of the fact that, we want to do Sam right. We want to cover his whole story.
That's right.
So, as a reminder, I did invest in another set of headphones, 2 headphones, 2 mics, and a freaking suitcase.
All right.
So, if we need to go to Bakersfield to go catch up with Zepeda, great. I pack them up. We can head out. If Lopez ever lets us go to Indiana,
yeah.
If there's ever the right time in the climate, we can.
We'll go. We'll make it work. We want to make this as easy for everybody as well too. We just want to make sure that we could, we just want to make sure that your story's heard, your voices are heard, and also just remember our time when we served with the 62 area pack.
And if you can't come to us, we can come to you. And please don't forget that everyone has a story.
Yes.
Please like and subscribe to our podcast. Find us on Instagram at Chat62Podcast. Email us at chat62podcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
The old gunny says, fix yourself, fix yourself, fix yourself, fix yourself, fix yourself, fix yourself.